Pokemon Horizons gave us two new main protagonists, being Liko and Roy, and being that we're already 17 episodes into this anime, it's kinda crazy that Liko hasn't caught her second Pokemon yet. Roy's already got two Pokemon, being Fuecoco and Wattrel, but recently Liko seems to be thinking about getting more Pokemon. The question remains, what Pokemon will she add to her team? Hey Pokemon Champions, it's Champion Blaze here, and today we'll be going over Liko's potential team in Pokemon Horizons. Similar to the team me and my friend KuroBlitz made for Roy several months ago, we'll be doing the same thing for Liko, discussing if her starter Pokemon will evolve, what Pokemon she'll seem the most likely to catch, personal preferences, as well as what Pokemon seem to match her personality or could even help her grow. Just like Roy's team, I'll be sticking to Pokemon strictly from Paldea. I'll try to maintain a good type composition among the team members so that her team is diverse, but also try to make the team aesthetically pleasing to look at as well. I'd also like to quickly give a big thank you to my amazing friend ShiinyCharm, who assisted me in creating LIKO'S finalized team for this video. She was a big help, and the team may have been entirely different without her input. With that said, I think that covers the intro portion, so let's dive right into LIKO'S potential full team for Pokemon Horizons. Let's get started. Before we begin diving into Liko's potential full team, I'd like to take a moment and dedicate this portion of the video to those that responded to my tweet on Twitter, where I asked you guys for your thoughts on the team you think Liko should have. I actually got a great amount of replies, and it was great to see the variety but also the similarities between all the suggested teams. Let's take a look at the teams you guys created for Liko. At Travis_SF0 said he could see Liko catching a female Oinkologne, Spidops, Grafaiai, Tinkaton, Palafin, and Houndstone. I've gotta say that this was one of the most unique teams sent to me. At RubyWolf ALT suggested her to have Armarouge, Floragato, Tinkaton, Goldengo, Palafin, and Farigiraf. We've got some fan favorites here, and quite an interesting choice to keep Floragato in its second stage. At Fibrinathan gave her Meowscarada, Palmot, Tinkaton, Hatterene, Aurorus, and Beware. This is one of the select teams to include Pokemon outside of Paldea, but they're still great choices. At Gabinator2 believes Liko should at least catch Palafin, Armarouge, Tinkaton, and or Glimmora. There seems to be a running theme of choosing Palafin, Armarouge, and Tinkaton here with these teams, and I think at Gabinator2 might have been the only one here to suggest Glimmora as a choice on any of these teams. At TimeN215 suggested a team consisting of Palafin, Armarouge, Tinkatuff, Dipplin, and a potential Eeveelution. Liko could get an Eevee since that seems to be the norm these days, and a new Pokemon from the Scarlet and Violet DLC is an interesting choice. At WillBrennan1991 suggested a team of Meowscarada, Hatterene, Altaria, Maushold, Palafin, and Satitan. These are all great choices, especially with Altaria being a notable choice here since it matches the aesthetic of Liko's outfit. Although I hope she doesn't get Maushold. Just my personal preference here. At Sarah Forest Dark sees Liko having Meowscarada, Hatterene, Vaporeon, Armarouge, Terapagos, and Tinkaton, the first person to mention Terapagos inside Liko's pendant. At Lasher Luke gave her a team of Sprigatito, Hatterene, Growlithe, Espeon, Alolan Ninetales, and Fido. This is by far the most unique and creative team here so far. Liko could definitely get a Growlithe from her grandmother since she owns an Arcanine, and it's interesting they think Sprigatito won't evolve. At Shaggy_Pacman made a team of Sprigatito, Fido, Annihilape, Farigiraf, Paldean Tauros Aqua Breed, and Tatsugiri. Another good team with Annihilape being a standout choice here. At Anut7723 suggested Floragato, Daxpund, Maushold, Palafin, Tinkaton, and Screamtail, the first team to mention a Paradox Pokemon. My friend at Navy Blue Suicune suggested Tinkatuff, Lechonk, Bellibolt, Armarouge, Wiglet, and Frigibax. Pretty unique team, although I hope she doesn't get Wiglet. At AshyBoy1 made her team be Lokix, Tinkaton, Armarouge, Baxcalibur, and either Flamigo or Bombardier, in addition to her Sprigatito, and I gotta say, this team is based. At Poketrainer Prague suggested Floragato, Clodsire, Daxpund, Armarouge, Tinkaton, and Raging Bolt, even going as far to mention their specific Terra types as well. And lastly, at Tigerhawk7109 suggested Meowscarada, Tinkaton, Grafaiai, Palafin, Cyclizar, and Dunsparce. I was waiting for someone to mention those last two. I I gotta say, these were all great team suggestions and I'm glad so many of you shared your thoughts with me. Now let's see if any of these Pokemon you guys suggested make it onto the official team here. Headlining Liko team is of course Meowscarada, her starter Pokemon. We saw Liko bond with Sprigatito during the first few episodes when it became her starter at Indigo Academy in the Kanto region. Through getting to know each other, Liko studying Sprigatito's personality, and dealing with all the turmoil from the explorers, they've grown incredibly close already. But I'm certain Sprigatito will evolve into Meowscarada. There have been several hints that Roy's Fuecoco will definitely evolve into Skeledirge, such as Roy singing with Fuecoco to hype it up in battle when it uses Ember, or Wattrel sitting on top of its head, foreshadowing the little firebird that sits on its head when it evolves into Skeledirge. And I've discussed in a previous video that Pokemon Horizons may have already hinted at a potential full battle between Liko and Roy at the end of the series, which would feature either a full 6-on-6 battle between them, or at least a battle between their fully evolved starter Pokemon, just like Ash and May back in the Terracotta contest. Pokemon Horizons really seems to be focusing on taking the first step as a trainer, or in anything you do, and focusing on growth and breaking out of your comfort zone, especially in the case of Liko. I believe her team will be centered on helping her grow mentally and emotionally as a person and as a trainer, and this will start with Sprigatito being the first Pokemon to evolve as it becomes Florigato and eventually Meowscarada. And when it does evolve, I could see the signature move Flower Trick being used to help Liko finish off the battle where Florigato evolves, and helping Liko and them get away from the enemy, which will probably be the Explorers. This would be a great callback to when Liko was first using Leafage to get away from the Explorers at the start of her journey. Now let's see who will accompany Meowscarada on this team. Our second Pokemon here is the Fire Warrior Pokemon, Armarouge. When Pokemon Scarlet and Violet first showed off Armarouge and Ceruledge in a trailer during the lead up to the release of these games, they instantly became fan favorites. Although Ceruledge has been considered the more popular one by the fanbase, Armarouge is still a top tier Gen 9 Pokemon. Charcadet would be a perfect Pokemon for Liko to catch early on and add to her team. It would give her 2/3 of a Water Fire Grass core that so many people tend to use on a playthrough team, and with Roy already having a Fire type in Fuecoco, he wouldn't need another one, allowing Liko to catch a Charcadet. Armarouge's Fire Psychic typing adds good diversity to her team, and with it being a strong special attacker, it'll add more power to her team as well. And Armarouge is probably the most perfect Pokemon for her to catch because of a couple reasons. One, starting as a small Charcadet, it can be a quote-unquote weak Pokemon, and Liko will have to grow and bond with this Pokemon and work up its strength. They can grow together until Charcadet finally evolves into a powerful Armarouge, possibly undergoing training similar to Ash's Infernape or Ash's Lucario. And two, when it finally does evolve, it'll become the perfect Pokemon to battle alongside Liko as they take down the Explorers. Amethio's Ceruledge has proven to be a formidable opponent so far in the anime, and it brutally beat down Liko and Roy's Pokemon. So with Armarouge being the opposite evolution of Charcadet, we could get a beautifully animated battle between Liko and Amethio, being Armarouge versus Ceruledge. What's even more interesting for this battle is that Ceruledge's Ghost typing still gives it the advantage over Armarouge since it's a Psychic type, which would put some more pressure on Liko. All in all, Charcadet would be a great Pokemon for Liko to catch and help her grow as a trainer, and could lead to some incredible moments later on in Pokemon Horizons. The third team member is a fan favorite of Gen 9, being Tinkaton. Now this Pokemon and its typing would add some huge power and defense to Liko's team. Being a Fairy Steel type, this Pokemon would be immune to Dragon type attacks, making it a good Pokemon to combat Shiny Rayquaza if need be. Plus it can also use its hammer like Colobsidian to knock it out of the sky. Its Steel typing also offers a plethora of resistances as well, which could make this Pokemon a good one for Liko to use as her go-to. Tinkatink would be a perfect capture for her early on in her journey, and would be much better than Hatena. Plus we already associate that Pokemon with Bead from Sword and Shield. Tinkatink is quite literally a baby Pokemon, and it even looks like it's holding a baby rattle. Tinkatink would be the perfect personification of the timidness Liko had at the beginning of her journey and how weak she was. As it evolves into Tinkatuff and finally Tinkaton, this would be the perfect demonstration and personification of Liko gaining more and more experience over the course of her journey. I could see many episodes being dedicated to Liko training with her Pokemon, and specifically Tinkatink, as it works on getting stronger and stronger. It would be a difficult road, but Tinkatink could evolve after being pushed back into a very tough corner in a battle, and instead of crying or giving up, it musters up the strength it needs to evolve into Tinkatuff. And I know many fans would love Liko using this Pokemon since it's a fan favorite like I said, plus we'd all love to see Gigaton Hammer being used in action in the anime. And with Amethio being shown to own a Corviknight, Liko's potential Tinkaton would be the perfect Pokemon to knock it out. Our next team member will be the new regional variant of Evolution, Clodsire. Evolving from Paldean Wooper, this goofy, lovable blob would be perfect for LIKO'S team. It would add a great silly element to her team, could provide comedic relief, all while rocking a great typing and battling prowess, and Pokemon Horizons may have already hinted at Liko getting a Paldean Wooper. Earlier in the series, Liko tended to an injured Paldean Wooper in the forest of Titan Arboliva after a fire had devastated the area. A long-running trope in the Pokemon anime is that a trainer will typically catch a specific Pokemon if they've bonded with it or helped it during an episode. Examples of this are Ash catching Charmander or Iris catching Dragonite. Now, although Liko obviously didn't catch the Wooper, that's not to say she won't catch another one later on. As a poison ground type, it adds good coverage and type diversity to her team, and I think it would mesh well with Liko's personality. This Pokemon could help her to not be so serious, help her relax, and provide her and the team with some good vibes. Clodsire is a fan favorite of Generation 9, and I'm sure fans would love to see this lovable Pokemon on her team. It's even possible that the same Paldean Wooper we saw Liko helping could return once again once we get back to Paldea. She could even catch it fully evolved as a Clodsire instead. This Pokemon would be such a wholesome addition to the team, and its ground typing would be perfect for countering Roy's potential Skeletors in the future. Just imagine Liko and the Rising Volt tacklers returning to Paldea, and she sees the same Paldean Wooper all grown up into a Clodsire, and she goes and hugs it and then catches it. That would be great to see. In the penultimate spot, we have Cetitan. Cetitan was an awesome Pokemon that was revealed during the lead up to Scarlet and Violet's release, and it's a pretty cool Pokemon. It's a pure Ice type, and this would be a great pick for Liko because not many main characters actually own Ice type Pokemon. We've only seen a handful among the main cast over the years, being Ash's Lapras, Ash's Glalie, May's Glaceon, Dawn's Mamoswine, and Lily's Alolan Vulpix. Cetitan evolves from Citadel, which, like Tinkatink, is quite literally a baby Pokemon. I mean, it's got toddler in the name. I think this Pokemon would be great for teaching Liko more about how to properly raise and care for her Pokemon. Sure, she'll be raising and training the others, but I could see Citadel needing more love and attention than the others. It could be in a situation similar to Ash's Scraggy or Noibat, or even Brock's Bonsai, where they needed to get adjusted to the new environment and people and Pokemon. It wouldn't be that strong and would need more care. This could help bring out lots of motherly qualities in Liko and would be a good nod to how much Liko's parents care for her. After a while of receiving love and nurturing care from Liko and everyone else, Citadel would finally evolve into the powerful Cetitan and would still retain its charm. It would kind of be a big baby, if you will. With more type diversity and the potential to form a wholesome and loving relationship with Liko, Cetitan is a perfect fit for her team. Now before we get to the final team member for Liko, there are some honorable mentions we'd like to cover since there were plenty of Pokemon up for consideration for her team. These Pokemon are also ones she could potentially have in rotation as well. They are Grafaiai, Paldean Tauros Aqua Breed, and Cloth. Grafaiai reminds me a lot of Ash's Apom and even Go's Grookey. This Pokemon, like Clodsire, would add the Poison type to the team, which would help against any Fairy types the explorers could potentially use, but also as a surprise card to use against Amitheo's Cerulege. Since it's also a normal type, it'd be immune to any of Cerulege's Ghost type attacks, throwing Ametheo off. It would also provide a lot of comedic relief to the team, being that it loves graffiti, so I could see it being slightly mischievous and painting on lots of things it should, maybe even getting carried away decorating the brave Asagi with its graffiti. Although if Liko did get it, let's hope she catches it as a Grafaiai and not a Shroodle, because let's face it, Shroodle just looks odd. Next is Paldean Tauros. This would be a great nod to the 30 Tauros Ash owns and add the fighting type to her team. Any one of the Paldean Tauros forms would be great, but I think specifically the Aqua Breed would be best just to complete the Water Fire Grass core I mentioned earlier, which would give us Meowscarada, Armarouge, and Paldean Tauros as our core. The water typing just also provides great coverage and really rounds out the team. Plus Liko's outfit is mainly blue, so it works aesthetically too. And lastly is Cloth. This is quite a unique pick as it was a Titan Pokemon in the Scarlet and Violet games, but it's also just a goofy looking Pokemon. This Pokemon would add the Rock type to her team and could serve as a nod to Ash's Kingler. Honestly, I could see Cloth just having such good synergy with the rest of Liko's potential team and letting Pokemon like Tinkaton and Meowscarada lay on its back. It would probably be a more of a tanky Pokemon for Liko, but would definitely be a good battler for her. And now, let's reveal the final member for Liko's team. The final member for Liko's team will be Bellibolt. This Pokemon may be heavily associated with Iono due to her specifically being used to show off the reveal of Bellibolt, but just like Clodsire, it would be a perfect fit for her team. It would add the fantastic electric typing to her team and would give her an electric type just like Roy. Its squishy and blob-like body is very similar to Clodsire's body, and the thought of Liko just hugging this round blob just makes me smile. You could potentially raise it from a Tadbulb, but catching it as a Bellibolt works too. I could honestly see Bellibolt loving Liko so much that it gets too excited and shocks Liko as a running gag, another way to have a nod to Ash and Pikachu, or even Dawn and Pachirisu. This would be a very wholesome bond between trainer and Pokemon, but I don't see it having the best win rate on the team. I think it at times would come in clutch, but may end up taking home the most losses. Bellibolt seems to have a charming demeanor and personality that would mesh well with Liko's personality, and if Dot sees Liko with this Pokemon, I could see Dot gushing over it since Iono is known for having this Pokemon. But with Bellibolt, I think it perfectly rounds out her team. Well, it looks like we have all the Pokemon for Liko's potential team. I believe her team should be Meowscarada, Armarouge, Tinkaton, Blodsire, Satitan, and Bellibolt. Each one of these Pokemon would absolutely be perfect for Liko's team of 6 and would either mesh greatly with her personality, help her relax, and or help her to grow mentally and emotionally as a trainer. And the ones I think she's most likely to get are Meowscarada, Armarouge, and Tinkaton. But the other ones are strong options as well, and it's amazing to see just how many Pokemon you guys suggested actually made it onto the team. I took your feedback into consideration as well as the ideas me and my friend ShiiinyCharm discussed, and it culminated into one absolute unit of a team. And a massive thank you to my lovely friend ShiiinyCharm for helping me come up with the final team members for this video, as well as the honorable mentions. She's a great person, and I'll link her YouTube channel and Twitter in the description. With that being said, thanks so much for watching, and leave your thoughts for Liko's team down in the comments below. If you want to see the team me and my friend made for Roy, click the link on screen. Until next time, train hard, and I'll catch you guys later.